Hey folks, here Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to a very interesting video and a video which will, throw a different light on what is the edible oil crisis that we not as only a nation but the entire globe is going through right now. Big question is how this edible oil crisis can impact inflation and how can it in turn impact on our stock markets. So this entire flow we are going to try and discuss in one shot. So let me see if I can wrap up this video in less than 10 minutes, and it should be a power packed, information packed video, right? So which are the three major edible oils that we are talking about? The very first one is palm oil. The second one is, let us say, sunflower oil, and the third one is soybean oil. Now, if I talk about palm oil as the very first thing, but before we move on to all these three types of oils, edible oils that we are going to discuss, very first thing that you should know is right now oil prices are expected to remain on a higher side, and that is the reason why the companies that are into edible oil, they're expected to benefit from these higher margins in the upcoming quarters, right? So with this as a base level understanding that those companies which are into edible oil may get benefited in the coming quarters, we have to understand the reason why this crisis, why edible oil crisis has happened at the very first place, right? So for that, what I would want to do is I would want to share my screen so that I can show you some references of different Chrome tab window. Acha, entire screen is what I can do, baby. Yes, so I'll share my entire screen so it'll be easier. So I'll just quickly take you through the various articles that me and my team we went through while doing research on this specific topic. Right, the very first one you can see here that Indonesia is facing which is the world's biggest producer. It is facing the palm oil crisis right now. Now, what has happened is Indonesia is one of the major producer and exporter of palm oil, and right now the production in the country itself has come down. Okay, this is what we can see from this specific website. Let me also take you to the to another article. This is the Indian Express article, and here it is written that the major world's largest producer and exporter of palm oil is facing domestic shortages leading to price controls and export curbs. So what is happening, you can imagine, it is the largest exporter, but still because of the lower production, their government is saying, okay, first fulfill our own country's demand, and then whatever is remaining, then only export. So that is the reason why they are exporting comparatively lower. And is it having a negative impact for a country like us? Answer is obviously yes, right? So here we can see that this is comparatively rare, but this is what is happening in Indonesia right now. I'll take you to another very important and amazing article. Here it is very clearly mentioned that Indonesia, Malaysia commit to biodiesel mandates despite higher prices. Now, what is this? Coming back to the main point, what are we talking about? Palm oil crisis right now. Number two, which are the major countries? Indonesia and Malaysia. Did we say that the production itself is less? Yes. In addition to that, what is happening? Let's understand. Just read this. Indonesia and Malaysia use palm oil as blending for biodiesel, with Indonesia since early 2020 using a mandatory B30 mandate. So just for you to simplify, what is this? Right now in India, I'm sure everyone knows that in our normal petrol or diesel, we are trying to blend ethanol with that. And we have done a separate video on that as well. Okay, whenever time permits, you can check that. So like we are having ethanol blending in India, in Indonesia and Malaysia, they are trying to do a palm oil blending, and they are trying to blend it for biodiesel. Okay, how will it benefit them? Basically, they are trying to make them more and more efficient. Here you can see commitment of using palm as biofuel material will boost Indonesia to achieve energy security and a renewable energy mix target of 23% by 2025. So all in all, what is happening? Number one, reduce production. Number two, what they're doing, at least first meet the domestic demand and then balance export. And number three, what they're doing is they're utilizing this palm oil more for blending rather than some other reason, for other purposes, right? So what is this? This is about palm oil. I told you three major reasons for the palm oil shortage, for the palm oil crisis, which are the two important countries, Indonesia and Malaysia. Now let's move on to the second edible oil, which is sunflower oil. Which are the two major countries for edible oil, which is sunflower oil, and it is Ukraine and Russia. So no need for me to explain why there is a problem. 25 to 40%, I'm reading, edible oil prices may rise more than 25 to 40% as Ukraine war chokes supplies. So with this, again, it is known as a supply side inflation that we can see. Is the supply less? Yes. Is the demand high? Absolutely yes. Will this lead to more and more inflation in the sunflower oil segment? Answer is again yes. So here you can see the prices of edible oil have gone up from 125 rupees to around 170 to 180 rupees within only a month's time frame, and these will further shoot up during May or June. Now, why is this happening? Again, as I mentioned, it is mainly because of the supply side crunch. Have a look at this pie chart as well. Here you can see edible oil supply in India, imports versus domestic produce. If I'm talking about edible oil, what can you see here? Imports is almost 60% and 40% roughly is domestic produce. So where are we facing the hit? It's mainly in the imports. Are there certain companies which are into the production, who have the production and manufacturing capabilities? Answer is yes. Okay. If you again see this amazing pie chart, double whammy. Sunflower oil shortages from Black Sea. Black Sea again, Russia Ukraine related area that they are talking about, and plus palm oil crunch from Indonesia. What is this? Arey abhi abhi to bola. Same thing, and here you can see 61.5% palm oil we are importing of the total edible oil imports, right? 23% soybean oil and 15% sunflower oil. So all these, so we did talk about 61.5% crunch because of Indonesia, Malaysia. We did talk about 15.4% crunch, which is mainly because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis. In fact, there was one more article which mentioned that Russia-Ukraine put together, they produce more than 80% of the total production in the world. Oh my God, that's a huge number, right? So that can cause a heavy supply side shortage. Moving on to the third edible oil, which is soybean. Now, if you see here, again, this was a Bloomberg article that I was just checking out. Here you can see soybean soared to 9-year high with South America supply in doubt. Now, which is one of the major manufacturers, producers of soybean oil, that is South America, right? Now, what is the problem in South America? It is major drought. Okay, Dushkal, we call it in Marathi. So because of this drought, overall produce manufacture itself is less. Again, same supply side problem. Demand is not a problem. Demand is very much there, but because of less supply, intact demand, prices are going to rise. Can we prove that whether prices have risen? Just have a look at this. This is soybean spike. This is again Bloomberg data only. We are talking about futures trade at highest since 2012. Have a look at this chart where it was, and it went down and zoop, it has again shot up. So all this is because of the drought, which has hurt the production in South America. And are we as a country also going to face a lot of problem? Now you might be like, are there is a drought in South America? How will India really impact? How will India face an impact? That is the same pie chart I was talking about, right? They are into soybean, and how much soybean oil are we importing? 23.1% we are only importing. Now, if there is supply shortage there, are we going to face that problem? Yes. Now, please understand the impact in India. So, just to wrap up this entire discussion, 3 important points. Number one, we said that all these edible oils, be it soya related, be it palm oil related, or sunflower oil related, major thing is supply side crunch, because of which inflation is high. If inflation is high, is it going to positively impact or negatively impact the market? It is going to negatively impact the market. If inflation increases, bond yields also increase, and all these things again are going to have a negative impact on stock markets. I'm sure everyone is checking the petrol and diesel prices right now. You might be like, what happened? Achanak petrol, diesel, oil prices. So this will increase the transportation cost. Edible oil inflation will increase the raw material cost. It's a double blow that we are facing right now, all in all leading to a higher inflation. I've also done a very detailed video on Russia-Ukraine crisis. Many people are like, how late have you published that video? What is the logic? I've explained the inflation impact there, and that you will now be able to understand in a much better way after you watch this video. So I'm putting the link of that video in the pinned comment. Don't forget to check the video. Do let me know if you love this short video on impact of edible oils on